Justice lead President-elect Donald Trump's personal criminal defense attorneys are the ones he is tapping to serve in key roles at the U.S. Justice Department. Trump announced Todd Blanche as his pick for Deputy Attorney General and Emil Beauvais to serve as Principal Associate Deputy Attorney General. Both men played a central role in defending Trump in the losing New York hush money cover-up case. Also, he tapped John Sauer, who won the presidential immunity case at the U.S. Supreme Court. He has been picked for U.S. Solicitor General. Let's discuss these picks with one of Trump's former attorneys who was once part of Trump's defense team in the New York hush money cover-up case, Joe Tacopina. Joe, thanks so much for joining us. So, do you think all of these individuals from the defense team now asked to serve in the Justice Department in one way or another, do you think they're all qualified to serve in the Justice Department, or do you think this, as his critics would have it, is more about serving Donald Trump's interests?
No, I mean, listen, I'd like to break that down by individual instead of painting with a broad brush, because they're different individuals and certainly have different qualifications, Jake. If we're talking about someone like Todd Blanche in the position of Deputy Attorney General, I couldn't really think of someone more qualified. Todd's a terrific lawyer. He's a friend of mine, but he's someone who has prosecutorial experience at the highest levels in the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Southern District. In my workings with him, he's clearly an intellect. He's a smart individual. He's well-reasoned. He's not someone who flies off the handle. And he's just an all-around good person. And I think that's really one of the key ingredients you want when someone has such an important role.
Then there's Emil Beauvais as Principal Deputy Assistant at the Attorney General at the Justice Department, and then also, of course, Mr. Sauer as Solicitor General.
Yeah, those are all good lawyers. Emil, I don't know as well as Todd. He worked also in the Justice Department in the Southern District with Todd. Todd brought him into his firm, and he wound up trying that case when I stepped out with Todd in Manhattan. Good lawyer. Again, my experience with him is limited, but if Todd entrusts him to be his partner in his law firm, I'm sure he's qualified. And again, he's someone who has experience, and that's what I think is important here, right? Someone with experience. So I think Emil would be great in that role. Again, it's not just one individual; it's a group, it's a team, and so he'd be working under Todd. And they both come from probably the most prestigious federal prosecutorial office in this country, the Southern District of New York.
Has anybody from the Trump transition team reached out to you to see if you'd be interested in serving in the government in the next Trump administration in some facility?
No, that's not a possibility. I could not leave my day job. The president actually early on talked to me about joining him one day back in Washington and sent me a nice note to that effect, which I still have. But it's really nothing that I could have ever considered. We never furthered that discussion. I have a practice that has a lot of clients that depend on me, and I have fiduciary obligations to those clients. It's my days in government, and they were there, but that was a long time ago. Those are over. So no one's approached me, and I think they all know what the answer with that question would be. So no, I'm staying right where I am.
What do you make of the pick of Congressman Matt Gaetz to be U.S. Attorney General? Obviously, Mr. Gaetz has been mired for years in a Justice Department investigation, a House ethics investigation. Do you see him as the most qualified and appropriate person to lead the Justice Department?
Look, again, that's a very personal decision that the president-elect will be making and has made. I'm not going to criticize that decision because I've only dealt with Matt in a matter where he was tremendously helpful to me, and that had nothing to do with President Trump, by the way. It was a matter of an innocent individual who was ultimately freed from custody in the United States and brought over to Italy. The Italian Prime Minister was involved, and I was involved in that, and Matt Gaetz was very helpful. So my experience with him has been more than positive. Look, he's bombastic. He's someone who speaks his mind, but I think that's consistent with the personality of the president-elect, right? So I don't know if that's look. He may not be everyone's cup of tea. He certainly is colorful, and he is someone who. But when you say investigations, that doesn't mean anything to me. Jake, and the reason it doesn't mean anything to me is because he's not been charged with anything. And many people are under investigations, and if they're not charged, I don't want to hear about it. There's no proof that he has done anything wrong, and there's absolutely no evidence that's been made public anyway that I know of that he's done anything wrong. So people could be under investigations. Allegations could be thrown around, especially in this day and age. Allegations seem to be tossed around like lollipops. I think you have to be measured before you cast judgment on someone. And Matt Gaetz is the someone who the president is relying on. But don't forget, it's not just Matt Gaetz. It's going to be Todd, Blanche, and Emil, and he's going to have some very seasoned prosecutors around him. So I think it'll be just fine if he's confirmed.
Joe Tacopina, thanks so much for your time today. We appreciate it, sir.
Okay, Jake. Thank you.
What are Democrats saying about the controversial names picked for Trump's administration? Democratic senator on the Senate Judiciary Committee is taking this all in. She'll be questioning cabinet selections and confirmation hearings, and she's going to join us next.